Hi, welcome to our third video. So for this one, we discuss about the problem solving, how from chapter one, among the concept that we will apply here is input, process, output. So input given by user, process we need to come up with the solution, the code, and then so that the output we're able to display to the user lah. So that one we call as problem solving, how we want to solve the problem based on the input given by the user. Okay, recap, we learn about basic concept, computer system, hardware and software, and also we learn about basic concept in programming, about programming, okay, type of programming, okay. So how to think like a programmer. Okay, how to think like a programmer here, we should try ourselves to portray that we are the um, we were able to come up with with the solution to any problem that given to us. Okay, so for a programmer, we any solution that we want to solve just now, we converted into the application. So how we can convert it? We must able to understand how we should write, what is the syntax and so on. So but before that, we must understand how the problem should be solved. Okay, programming is about problem solving, thinking logically, and breaking down a problem into steps to find a solution. Okay, so this is the loop you can say. First, we must identify the problem. Once we identify the problem, we should explore the information and how we how we should solve this one. We should have that kind of attitude so that we will come up with a solution. Okay, so by right we should come up with several options, and then we try to run accordingly. Option one, option two, option three, and then which one we think is the best that can solve that problem. Okay, so once we decide which one the solution that we want to use, we try to do the code, to build and test the idea, and then we evaluate the result either it is okay or not. Okay, once we evaluate, if we found any new problem, we will repeat again the loop. Okay, okay, problem solving. The moment you read the problem, you should try to answer the following question. Once, for example, if you are given this one, if you read the problem, if you face any problem given to you in written, you should try to answer this question first. What information should the solution provide? What data do I have to work with, and how to work with the data to deliver the needed solution? So it depends to the concept that we learned in chapter one, IPO, input, processing, output, input, process, output. So first you need to gather the info from the written problem given to you, and then you try to solve that one. How you should solve? Maybe by the given problem, you should do A and B to come up with C, for example, and how to work with the data to deliver the needed solution. How the data that been given to us, how we can use that data so that we can come up with the solution. The answer to the first question will tell you the problem output. The answer to the second question will tell you the problem input. And then the answer to the third one will tell you the process. That one input, process, output just now. So this one if you are given a written one. But if you are do some survey and then you found some problem, you can deploy this concept also. Okay, what is this information from this situation, from this scenario, and then what's the data that you have to from that scenario, what are the data that you can use, and then how you can use that data to come up with a better solution, for example. Okay. So how to breaking down a problem into steps to find a solution. So basically, for example, this is the one example. To calculate Ali's BMI given his weight 50 kg and height 160. Okay, you can see here we do have several info, right? Calculate Ali's BMI. We need to calculate the BMI for Ali, but we already given the weight, we already given the height. So the input here, input based on the info that you get, you get the weight and also height, and then we want to get the output is BMI. Then to get the BMI, we must do some calculation. We must use the formula, for example, weight divided by height power of 2. Okay, that is how you can get the BMI. So that one, very basic one, right? Very straightforward. But if you are given any complicated one, you should try to break it into smaller part so that you can solve one by one, for example. Okay. Let's test your understanding. Determine a student final grade and indicate whether it is passing or failing. The final grade is calculated based on the average of 4 marks. If the average is below than 50, the grade is failed and vice versa. Okay. Can you define what is the input, what is the process, and also what is the output from this given problem? Okay. Can you get? Okay. Please stop for a while. Please pause this video and try to solve. Try to mention what is the input, the process, and output. Okay. Please pause here and get the input, process, and output. Okay. Okay. Hopefully now you already already click the button click play. So we discuss together. Determine a student final grade. So this one we already given a problem. Student final grade. We need to determine the final student grade. So whether it is pass or fail. So that one will be the output. Okay. The final grade is calculated based on the average of 4 marks. The final grade is calculated is based on the average of 4 marks. That one will be the input or process. Input or process. Okay, the final grade is the process, is the output. The process is calculation of the average of 4 marks. That is the process. Okay. Input is the 4 marks just now. If the average mark is below than 50, the grade is fair and vice versa. This one also the output. So we do have the input 4 marks. We do have the processing, which is we calculate the average of that 4 marks, and the process also to determine fail. If the average is below than 50, the grade is fail. To mention either the student fail or pass by checking the average mark below than 50 or not. That is the how you do the input, process, and the output. Okay. Okay. This one, how to describe the process before translate translate into programming language. That is the next part that we focus into. So for this one, part 1, we will focus to the input, process, output. So I will give you some trivia. For the part 2, we will learn about pseudocode, we learn about algorithm, and also flowchart. So see you in our next video.